I'm 29F, divorcing my husband, 28M, for suggesting an open marriage. Complicated feelings. My husband, 28M, and I, 29F, have been together for 9 years. Married for 7. We got a not-so-classic shotgun wedding to give ourselves better chances of receiving custody of his half-sister, 10F, when their mom suddenly passed away. Despite only being 20 and 21 years old, we did receive full legal custody over her absent father. This information isn't super relevant to the current situation, but it really sets the tone of our relationship with the sacrifices we made together and the things we each had to give up personally to raise this beautiful little girl. We don't have any children together, but his sister is now 17 and moved in with an older, more financially privileged aunt last year. Over the past year of this newfound alone time, I feel like we have flourished each personally and as a couple. We never fight. Arguments are rare and we are pretty good at coming to understandings and apologizing when necessary. Basically, I feel we had a pretty healthy relationship. We each do little things for each other. I receive flowers no less than 10 times a year. We go on little vacations together and are generally really good. I guess a bit of the spark was sputtering out for a while, but I feel like that's normal for a relationship as long as ours. Fast forward to this past October. My husband seems like he has been depressed, which is normal for this time of year because of the timing of losing both his mom and dad in different years around the same time. The holidays are tough for him, so I get it and try to be there for him. He had previously planned a suicide attempt because of family issues before we met, so I take his mental health very seriously. He sits me down to have a serious conversation and starts it by saying he wants to open up our relationship. I felt my heart drop to my stomach but stayed silent and let him talk. He doesn't go into why, just jumps right into rules and explains how he wants me to find someone first before he starts looking for someone himself. When I ask him why, he couldn't explain it and fumbled his words. I asked him if he already had someone in mind for himself, and of course he denies it. I couldn't help it. I definitely blew up. I was totally blindsided by this proposal. I slept on the couch after my outburst, and he didn't even try to come after me to explain anything, which kind of made me feel worse. I had never felt so unwanted in my life than in that moment. I have never given the impression that I was the kind of girl to be open to that kind of relationship. I will never judge anyone for wanting to live that kind of life, but it's just not for me. He went to work the next day, but I had the day off and really thought about my situation. After crying for hours, I came to the realization that this was the end for our marriage. Even suggesting an open marriage was a deal breaker for me. I realized, while he was still at work, I moved all his stuff out of our bedroom into his sister's old room. Technically a spare room now. He comes home from work, ready to talk it out. After talking through more of why he wants this, I've come to realize several things. Point 1. He is way kinkier than he lets on, and is disappointed with our bedroom life. He knows I'm not on the same level and doesn't want to push me past my boundaries to try things he knows I won't like. When I asked how he knows I won't like to try these new things, he explains they are an escalation of things he already knows I'm not down for but won't go into specifics. He also is unhappy with how infrequently we have sex but has never really put in the effort to change anything regarding it. Just complained over and over and expected me to just be ready to do the deed any minute of the day. Point 2. He feels we have nothing in common now that his sister is gone. For context, he is more of the outdoorsy type, whereas I like to stay inside and read or play video games. I do venture out once in a while to do things he likes together and do genuinely enjoy them myself. When I go like kayaking and skiing, I do understand that it isn't as often as he would like. Though. Point 3. Because we got married so young. There are a lot of things neither of us really got to experience or try. Mostly sexually. He is mourning the loss of his young 20s and never getting to sleep around and explore his kinks. Point 4. Part of the rules he explained was that we wouldn't technically be sleeping around with whoever we wanted. He called it an open marriage but described it more as polyamory, where we would each have a boyfriend or girlfriend of our own that we went on dates and did things together. Someone we were each allowed to love and be with sexually. An emotional connection was pivotal for him, which broke my heart to pieces. During our talk, I told him I would never be able to look at him the same. I would never be enough for him. And he was basically trying to get a pass for guilt-free cheating in my eyes. I told him it sounded like he wanted to be with someone else without ever leaving the comfort of his marriage. Knowing he could date around and not worrying if those relationships would fail. Say he could just come home to me. He tried denying these things, saying he wanted to explore himself sexually but didn't want to lose me in the process. He tried getting me to agree to marriage counseling to talk about the open marriage concept. I told him just proposing an open marriage was grounds for divorce for me. And I wasn't willing to go to a counselor for them to gang up on me to try to bully me into trying it. I know in reality that never would have happened. But emotions were high in the moment. Because I told him I could never see him the same and how badly this crushed any self-confidence I may have had. He doubled down. He said if we go back into a relationship and pretend this never happened, then he would end up cheating on me. For him, it was open marriage or nothing. I chose nothing. Divorce papers were filed exactly 1 week later. He was very hurt, angry, that I could jump right to divorce and kick him out of our bedroom so fast, but I refused to be a second choice or have to fight for his attention. I can't believe he is okay with the idea of another person being inside of me. He is willing to just give me up to explore his options. I can't believe I wasted so much of my time with him, helping him heal his family and raise his sister. I feel completely used. Advice? Did I overreact? Should I have waited longer before filing for divorce? Should I have just gone to marriage counseling, or was my gut instinct correct about the marriage being over? I still love and care about him, but my brain is screaming to be logical. We still live together while we are trying to figure out how to split everything, but now he is being super toxic and petty, saying hurtful things and then begging for personal details about my life. I need to get out of this house. How do I cope with these complicated feelings? TLDR. My husband blindsided me with wanting an open marriage. So I moved him to our spare bedroom while he wasn't home and filed for divorce a week later. He said if we go back into a relationship and pretend this never happened, then he would end up cheating on me. Continue on with the divorce. I wouldn't be surprised if there's someone on the side. No, you did the right thing. For you. Honestly, good for you. Based on most posts in here, for once someone did it correctly. You've done the right thing and have handled this the best way you know how. I can't imagine any of this has been easy, but you're doing a great job navigating it. Don't question yourself. He did use you to raise his sister and now wants to have fun with others. Divorce is the right thing here. Did he even talk to you first about whatever he felt? It seems like he went from I'm unhappy to suggesting an open marriage, completely skipping all the middle stuff. I told him I would never be able to look at him the same. I would never be enough for him. And he was basically trying to get a pass for guilt-free cheating in my eyes. I told him it sounded like he wanted to be with someone else without ever leaving the comfort of his marriage. knowing he could date around and not worrying if those relationships would fail. Say he could just come home to me. Bingo. No, you did not overreact. And the fact that his behavior has turned toxic just confirms that your instincts are completely correct. You did just fine. You knew your boundary were clear, and he doubled down. Don't doubt yourself. Continue the divorce. If you see him take the initiative and do the work, you might consider R. But I think that you'll find the freedom inspiring as you take control of the situation. Dear R. Not easy, but inspiring. You stood up for yourself. I know I'm a stranger on the internet, but I'm super proud of you, Pink Heart. He was very hurt, angry, that I could jump right to divorce and kick him out of our bedroom so fast. But also, he said if we go back into a relationship and pretend this never happened, then he would end up cheating on me. For him, it was open marriage or nothing. He can officially go eat spiders. If you notice him ever trying to throw the "you're too hasty" stuff in your face again, just point out he acknowledged to your face he would cheat if he had to. There is no hasty in the face of that. He was the one that came into this discussion already resolute. An open dynamic to explore his sexuality is one thing, but honestly he made pretty clear that how he views the relationship isn't the same as you. I do think the conclusion he came to, one so utterly extreme and ill-considered, probably is informed by a lot of his trauma and inability to regulate his emotions well. But the reality is that the path he talked himself into comes with a cost, and you have already spent way too long being the one that deals with that fallout of it. He keeps asking for info on your personal life. There you go. You are correct. He wants to cheat fully and freely. Him pestering about your personal life now that you're technically split shows he didn't actually want you to do the same. He has a problem with you being with someone else. Treat him as a ghost you're waiting to exorcise. Do not engage with him anymore. Let the lawyer handle that. You've done the right thing. You'd just be prolonging the inevitable. He doesn't want marriage counseling to help address the issues between you both, but instead to try to convince you to be okay with an open marriage. I think it's awful that he jumped to trying to find satisfaction outside of marriage rather than trying to address his needs with you. If he wants more kinky sex, he should have communicated that with you to see if you guys can get on the same page about that. If he wants more outside activities, he should communicate those needs so you can create more of a balance, etc. You're allowed to have your boundary and stick to it. If opening the marriage or suggesting it is one, then that's okay. I married young at 20, separated by 24 and legally divorced at 25. We grow up so much in our 20s. Hell, our brain is still forming until we're 25. You grew into different people by wanting different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. You were right by starting this process, and your STBX is probably feeling embarrassed, mad that you called him out on the real intentions for opening the relationship. I hope you can maintain a relationship with his sister, as she seems dear to you. Although I don't speak with my ex at all, I do keep in regular contact with ex-in-laws. They are family to me. Yeah, what he's proposing is not an open marriage, and I believe your perception of his true desires is correct. You have been used, but you don't have to be anymore. Leave him. You did well. Hi Op. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. While reading your post, I felt such pride in you. How many times have you heard of one partner going along with polygamy because they don't want to force their spouse to compromise, only for the entire thing to fall apart? I'll point out one more thing. Not only did he ask for polygamy, he also doubled down and insisted that if you didn't agree to it, he would cheat. He wasn't remorseful. He didn't apologize. He didn't suggest therapy for him to accept your boundaries. Rather, he suggested therapy so that you could accept his radical change in your relationship. The end of relationships are so difficult, and I know this time will be difficult for you. I am so proud of you for understanding your values and sticking up for yourself. It is no easy task, especially for women who are perpetually asked by society to sacrifice our own desires and compromised feelings for the ambition, desires, and happiness of our male partners. You are doing the right thing, and your beautiful heart will heal with time. Best of luck to you. You did the right thing, full score. You definitely didn't overreact. Most of the time someone asks to open the relationship up because they have someone in mind. Like you said, he wanted to test out the waters and see if the grass on the other side is greener. And if it wasn't, then he could come back to you. I believe you did the right thing because you saw your worth and didn't settle to just being a backup plan. If he respected your relationship and loved you, he wouldn't have even thought about this whole ordeal. He wouldn't have hurt the woman that helped him through every obstacle and was there for him every step of the way. With people like him who believe they missed out because he was forced to grow up since young, they rarely ever think of the other person, of how they also were forced to grow up. You also missed out on your 20s just like he did. My advice is to go through with this divorce and find someone who will love you and be content with just you. Good luck. Thumbs up, medium light skin tone. I have read many posts on Reddit. For starters, I never seen anyone write so well and explain the entire story with so many important details, without leaving anything out. You 100% did the right thing here. Our marriage will never been the same after this. Take advantage of your age, count your blessing that you don't have a kid with him. Otherwise things would get complicated. Start a new leaf. The fact that he admitted he would cheat on you anyway if you said no, this wasn't a discussion or a suggestion for an open marriage. He's gonna do whatever he wants. And he was trying to force you to accept it. You're not overreacting. Stay the course. First, sex and relationships are way better in your 30s than 20s. You did not give him your best years. You know what you want and you have to do what feels right. Consider that you are making this decision more quickly than the time it took for him to work up to giving you this news, and try to turn that to grace for the situation.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.